Hello students, welcome to the fourth lecture on this lecture series. The fourth lecture is on gene expression and the first step, that is transcription. Transcription is the first step of many steps in gene regulation of DNA. So we'll start. Transcription is the synthesis of an RNA molecule using a DNA template with the help of enzyme polymerase. But before going in deep into this transcription process, we'll be seeing how many types of RNA molecules that are present. First one is messenger RNA that encodes the amino acid sequence of a polypeptide, followed by transfer RNA, which is an adapter molecule during translation, and in the ribosomal RNA, which combines with protein to form a structure called as ribosome, the catalyst for translation process, and small nuclear RNA, which combines with proteins to form complexes, which are used in eukaryotic RNA processing. So the synthesis of RNA starts with many regulatory elements associated with each gene. The DNA unwinds, like DNA replication, with the help of enzyme RNA polymerase in prokaryote and other proteins in eukaryotes. Because in eukaryotes there are various class of enzymes which would be coming and helping RNA polymerase in opening the DNA strand, but the reaction is catalyzed by RNA polymerase both in prokaryote and in eukaryote. The RNA is transcribed in the same direction, that is 5 is to 3, because like DNA polymerase, RNA polymerase also has the ability to incorporate nucleotide in only one direction, that is 5 is to 3 on the 3' OH end. So when we will be seeing the template DNA reads 3 is to 5 always, because when we talk of template DNAs in the process transcription, only one strand would become RNA, not both these strands, as we had seen in DNA replication process. Only one strand would make up to the RNA molecule. The reaction, the polymerization reaction, is similar to DNA synthesis, except few points, which are the precursors are NTPs, not DNTPs, and no primer is needed to initiate synthesis, which was the uttermost important step in DNA replication. And the third part is uracil is inserted instead of thymine, because thymine is not there in RNA molecules. And after that, if we see this structure, this is a transcription process where we are having our DNA, and these are two DNAs. One is non-template strand and the other one is template strand. And here we can see this is RNA DNA hybrid. And here we have a site called as promoter site, which is very important site in transcription process. And after that, this is a point where the transcription starts, and this is a direction, that is 5 is to 3 always. And this part is known as transcription bubble. After that, if we see this structure, here we will find the chemical reaction involving the RNA polymerization. Here also we have 3' OH end, where NTPs, the ribonucleotide triphosphate, would come and attack here, and ultimately they would be adding a nucleotide at 3' OH position only. And here we can see 2-phosphate molecule will go out of the system. And after that, if we see the process of transcription, both in prokaryotes and eukaryotes, we can divide this process into three prominent parts, that is initiation, elongation, and termination. The process are highly conserved between eukaryote and prokaryote, but somewhat there are some differentiation in the initiation process and in the termination also. So in this video lecture, we are talking of transcription in prokaryotes, taking E. coli as a model organism. Then if we see a prokaryote gene, because when we talk of transcription, we need to talk about prokaryote gene also, because that is a DNA sequence which would be transcribed into mRNA, rRNA, or tRNA. So every prokaryotic gene is having a sequence called as a promoter sequence, followed by transcribe sequence and a terminator region. So a promoter site is always before the actual transcribed sequence and which is followed by a terminator region. If we see, this is a structure of a promoter. So here, this is our promoter region, and this is that RNA coding sequence. This part would be transcribed, and that is promoter part. And here we have a terminator part. So all the nucleotides which are before this RNA coding sequence are called as upstream of the gene, and all the nucleotides which are downstream of this sequence are known as downstream of the gene. So upstream and downstream. In prokaryotes, mostly various enzymes come and attach to your upstream, because RNA polymerase would also come and it would attach at the upstream part of a gene. And if we go further, so promoter is a conserved sequence in many species. So every promoter has some speciality. If we see the promoter in E. coli, it has -35 region, which sequences TTGACA, and along with -35, there is one more region which is known as -10 region, which was previously known as Fibno box, and it is also called as Tata box. So why we are denoting -35 and -10? So as we had already seen, whatever nucleotide are before the actual transcribed sequence are called as upstream part, and all those are denoted with minus sign. -10 means 10 nucleotides before that point, that where RNA transcription would start. And in transcription, RNA polymerase is very important enzyme which binds with a promoter sequence, and this holoenzyme. Holoenzyme consists of RNA polymerase, which is having four polypeptides: alpha, beta, and beta prime. And along with that, one very important factor that is called as sigma factor. Sigma factor is also present in the RNA polymerase, which tells RNA polymerase where to attach. So if we see this part, this is promoter region, this is transcribed region, and this is -1, this is -10, which is having Tata 80 sequence, also called as Kribno box, and -35 box, which is also called as TTGACA. And this is a entire structure of a promoter sequence in E. coli. After this, if we see the structure of RNA polymerase, so here we can see core enzyme. Core enzyme is that part of RNA polymerase which is having all the abilities to add nucleotides onto your strand, but the problem is that they won't be able to find the correct position. So that correct position is always detected by holoenzyme, which has one extra factor, one extra protein that is called as sigma factor. So along with alpha, beta, and beta prime, which are called as core enzyme, we have additional factor called as sigma. And when this sigma adds to this core enzyme, it becomes RNA holoenzyme. Now this entire complex is able to find out the correct position from where transcription has to begin. So this is very important factor. The sigma factor binds to core enzyme, and it confers the ability to recognize promoter and start the RNA synthesis. So this RNA polymerase holoenzyme binds promoter in two steps. First, it will come and it will bind to -35 sequence, and then it would come and bind to -10 sequence as the time goes on. And once it is done, an untwisting will happen, because to open up DNA, RNA polymerase is enough in prokaryotic transcription. So if we see the structure, so in this structure, sigma protein is helping. This is a sigma protein along with RNA polymerase, which is helping our RNA polymerase to find the correct place from where transcription has to begin. And if we see the structure, this is the E. coli RNA polymerase in the initiation and elongation stage of transcription. So, like this is our promoter sequence, and this is our RNA polymerase. And when it is in this structure, it is called as closed promoter complex because still the unwinding has not taken place. And in the second, the B diagram, if we see, then we can see minus 35, minus 10, and here unwinding has taken place of DNA strand. So this would be called as initiation part, where the DNA has opened up and is known as open promoter complex. And after some time, when it would add 6 or 7 nucleotide, the sigma part, the sigma subunit would leave the RNA complex, because if sigma is there, then sigma won't allow RNA polymerase to go ahead, because sigma is having high affinity for RNA polymerase. So the departure of sigma is very, very important in this transcription process. And after that, once it is removed, RNA polymerase will go ahead and would make RNA. And these promoters are often derived from consensus sequence, and these sequences are almost similar. And after that, we'll just talk for some time on sigma factor, because we have already spoken that it is very, very important. It tells RNA polymerase where to bind and where not to bind. So in normal situations, when E. coli is not having any stress condition or is having a good environment, then sigma 70 would come and it would recognize the minus 35 and Tata box at minus 10. But suppose if prokaryotic cell is facing some sort of stress, it is having heat shock, if the temperature is rising, so prokaryotic cell has to make modifications according to it. Then in those circumstances, sigma 32 would come and it would change the sequence at which RNA polymerase is binding. So now it would bind as minus 35 and minus 15. In sigma 32, as I have already told you, in the heat shock process, when cell is having stress, the sigma would change these sequences. Sigma would change the binding of RNA polymerase to different sequences so that different proteins is expressed, so that to combat these stress and heat shock. Similarly, like if we have some other condition like sigma 54, sigma 23, these are the example of sigma factors which are generated according to the situation, according to the responses. These sigma factors are very, very important in terms of bacterial species. Now we go to the second part, that is elongation process. Once the initiation is completed, DNA synthesis begins. After 8 or 9 nucleotides addition, sigma factor would release and it would allow RNA polymerase to go ahead. And after that core enzyme unwinds DNA helix, and this unwinding is local. It is not like that RNA polymerase would open up a large segment. It would open up a small segment only. And the chain grows at 30 to 50 nucleotide per second. And the speed is slow. But the thing is that transcription not always takes part. It does not happen all the time. So it is needed when it is required. So this speed is somewhat affordable. So RNA polymerase has two types of proofreading, as we had seen in the case of DNA polymerase, that it is also having proofreading activity. So it, like DNA polymerase, it is having editing activity where newly inserted nucleotide is removed by reversing synthesis reaction. Enzyme moves back one or two or more nucleotides, cleaves DNA, and then resume the synthesis in forward direction. And now the last process, that is termination. Termination is of two types. The first type is row independent, a type 1 termination, which is having two-fold symmetry that would allow a hairpin loop to form. And if this hairpin loop is formed, then your RNA polymerase would not go further and it would destabilize the RNA DNA hybrid, and ultimately the reaction is terminated. And the second one is row dependent termination or type 2 terminators, which lacks the polyuregen and which also does not have this palindrome, but it has a protein called as rho protein, which is required for the termination process. It has two domains. One is RNA binding, and the second domain is ATP domain. So it utilizes the ATP and its energy to drive the row to move along the transcript and destabilize the RNA DNA hybrid to the termination region. So if we see this diagram, here we can see this is the first type, that is row independent termination, where we are having this twofold symmetry and we are having this complementary strand here also. This for DNA template and this is transcript RNA, where this is complementary to this. And when these strands would come together, what they will do, they'll make a hairpin loop. So if RNA polymerase is coming and if it encounters this part, it cannot propagate ahead. And ultimately, RNA polymerase would fall off from the strand and making RNA DNA template hybrid unstable, so that the reaction is terminated at that point only. So this is very predominantly occurring part in our RNA. And if we see the last type of termination, that is row dependent termination, so it is based on a protein. It's a helicase protein called as rho protein. What happens, this rho protein comes into the RNA strand, it goes ahead, it reaches to the terminator part, and it causes a stem loop formation, which causes RNA polymerase to pause. And when nearby, when the RNA polymerase reaches to the end, it encounters a loop, which causes the stoppage of RNA polymerase. And when this RNA polymerase stopped at this point, this rho factor which was there in RNA would come and would make sure that it makes RNA DNA hybrid separated by removing this RNA polymerase. And rho factor removes this RNA polymerase from the strands, so that now RNA DNA hybrid gets separated and the process is terminated. So in this manner, row independent and row dependent processes are there for the termination of prokaryotic transcription. So if you have any problem, if you have any query, just feel free to contact us. We have various platforms for your comfort. We have departmental blog, you can question us there also. We have Facebook page, you can question us there also. And for more updates, keep following our YouTube channel. Thank you and have a safe life ahead.